Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 1968 Pontiac Firebird. Now, before we get on with this review, I'd just like to apologise for the way the camera is going to act in this Forza Vista mode. For some reason it's broken where the point that it doesn't realise where its limitations are in terms of going around the car. So you'll see some odd jerky movements from the camera, which I do apologise for, but I can't ultimately help it. It is a glitch at the end of the day, and I have no idea when it's going to get sorted out, and I'm not going to wait for it to review this car, because I have been absolutely ecstatic about the fact that this car has been added to this game. It's the first time we've had this vehicle since Forza Motorsport 4, and I think I actually had it in my top 10 Forza Motorsport 4 cars I'd like to see return as well video that I did ages ago. So yeah, and I'm really glad to see it, because yeah, it's a superb muscle car. So yeah, it's part of the first generation that was produced between 1967 and 1969, with 277,380 produced in those 3 years. And yeah, 1968 was the most popular year, so then around 107,000, and it would actually take until 1976 for a future Firebird to actually beat that amount with 110,000. And yeah, it's based on the first generation Camaro, but to help set it apart, this has some alterations. So the front and rear fascias are different. It's also got functional hood air scoops, or bonnet air scoops, and the engine is actually set further back to help improve weight distribution. And yeah, it's also got a larger engine than was available in any of the Camaros, even the SS version. So yeah, and it's, as far as I'm concerned, better looking than that first generation Camaro. It's got the benefits of that Camaro with its side profile, which looks really nice. And yeah, the rear is about as good as the the Camaro, but where it's been set apart is with the front, with those quad headlights and that split front grille. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and then you have the Pontiac badge there in the middle, and then you have it lettered out as well just to the right hand side as well. So yeah, it looks absolutely gorgeous, as well as with those air scoops and the modest 400 badges, which are on the bonnet and on the rear boot lid. So yeah, you really couldn't tell this apart much from the standard Firebird, but you definitely know it is a 400 once you hear it and see it going along. And yeah, being based on the Camaro, it's got reasonable practicality, a full-size spare wheel. There's still plenty of room in the rear there, even with that, and yeah, seating for at least 3 passengers. And yeah, not much in the way of creature comforts, wind-down windows, and only a couple of dials, and yeah, not much else. But it is at least a 4-speed manual, and yeah, you've still at least got aircon and a radio, so can't really complain all that much. But yeah, like I said, what sets this apart from the Camaro is the engine, which yeah, as we'll see now, if the camera lets me move in, as you can see, it's been really rather jerky at the moment, which is a shame. But yeah, it's a 6.6 litre naturally aspirated V8 engine, producing 335 horsepower and 430 pounds-feet of torque. Now, that's not quite as much horsepower as a Camaro SS would have, as that has 375. But this does have 15 extra pounds-feet of torque, and like I said, it is a little bit better in terms of handling, despite weighing a little bit more at 3,550 pounds, but it's only about 30 pounds in it. So yeah, not much extra, to be honest. And at the end of the day, you have a far better looking car, which has yeah, some functionality with its appearance, and yeah, at the end of the day, is a little bit more of a a left field kind of muscle car to go for, because like I said, didn't sell all that much in those 3 years compared to like the Camaro, and the Mustang, for instance, sold around that in the first year. So yeah, it wasn't as much of a success as Chevrolets or Fords at all things, but as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't really matter. So yeah, then nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. So yeah, big V8, rear wheel drive, so it does handle in a lot of ways like a typical muscle car, but because it's got a reasonable amount of power and a good amount of torque, it's not uncontrollable, and it's actually quicker than the Camaro SS 60 and to 100, and it's slightly quicker at the top end because it can handle its power better. As you know, it's gone for torque over pure horsepower, which is what I quite like, to be honest, because yeah, a big torquey engine is really rather a fun car to drive. So yeah, I'll let you listen to the engine for a little bit, and then we'll talk about the vehicle some more. So yeah, it's not particularly high revving or anything like that. It's probably far from the most technologically advanced engine, but it does have plenty of brute force, and yeah, it's really rather torquey, and yeah, really rather a good sounding engine as well. And like I said, even though it's only marginally larger than any Camaro engine that you could get at the time, you know, numbers do sell, and yeah, big 400 badge on the rear there is going to sell a lot better than whatever a cubic inch version of a 6.5 would be. So yeah, really impressed by this car, to be honest, in this game, because like I said, it's been a long time since we've had this on a Forza game. It's been since Forza Motorsport 4, and I pretty much haven't driven this car since I did that video I talked about earlier, where I listed the 10 cars I would like to see from Forza Motorsport 4 to make a return, and this has thankfully made that return, and yeah, in fine style as well. And yeah, acceleration wise is really good as well. It still impresses even after all this time since I drove it last. 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, 0 to 114.1 seconds, and it going to a top speed of 140 miles an hour. Marginally quicker at the top end than an SS Camaro, and yeah, about a second quicker to 60 and about 2 seconds quicker to 100 as well. So yeah, might not have the most impressive numbers in terms of horsepower, but it definitely makes up for it in terms of performance when you actually get going. And yeah, it does have the same problem as plenty of other muscle cars though, in terms of the fact it's only got a 4-speed manual, and yeah, obviously doesn't rev all that high, so the top speed isn't great, and you can get up there really quickly, so it can get a little bit annoying when it's bouncing off the limiter, but that's so typical even of muscle cars from the day, so really not going to slate this for that. And at the end of the day, yeah, it's another muscle car that we've not had for a while, and yeah, hopefully it does mean that we get some more muscle cars from Forza Motorsport 4, because that game really did excel at having plenty of those cars, which obviously was helped by the fact it had a muscle car pack added to the game after its release. So yeah, we've still got plenty more from that game to add to this game or another Forza game in terms of muscle cars or other cars that I am wanting, but yeah, hopefully we will get them at some point. So yeah, if you've never tried out this car on the last game it was on, Forza Motorsport 4, or any of the games before that, then I highly recommend trying it out now. You get it by doing a free race championship, which is easy enough, and yeah, at the end of the day you get a spectacular car, and yeah, one reason why I like Pontiac so much as a car brand, and yeah, that's one reason why I was really rather sad that they shut up shop only what, like a decade ago now. So yeah, really glad it's on the game, and yeah, highly recommend seeking it out if you haven't already, because the update hasn't been out very long, but if you have, then I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.